wait a whole year for your honey. Hi there, and welcome back. We are now looking at the nuke install that we did with the Banksbars. Time has passed since the install. I want to say it's been a good 22 days, I think, 23 days, which means that any of the brood that was in the lower nuke should have emerged by now. What you didn't see and what we didn't capture was during that time frame, about a week after the install, we came back just to check to make sure everything transferred appropriately. And we had this side of the entire hive, basically the Banksbars with the nuke installed on the bottom, and the prospectively left or right, however you're looking at it, the opposing side blocked off completely. But we noticed that they actually started drawing out the frames extremely quickly on the Banksbars. So we decided to expand that out. So we removed the follower boards and we expanded it out. So this has been in there, I'm gonna say at least 2 weeks, a little under 2 weeks, of all 10 Banksbars over a 5-frame nuke. So there is a bit of a cavity down there, but what we did is we moved the queen up. We located the queen and we moved it up to the top set here in the Banksbars, and did a queen excluder between them so she wouldn't go down. This has actually prevented them, at least about a week ago, I checked, and there wasn't anything drawing out on the opposite side. They've focused entirely on the Banksbars up in the top. So what we're doing today is we're basically inverting the configuration to have the Banksbars down at the main entrance where the brood box typically remains. We'll be taking the 5 frames that were the nuke and placing it as a super with another 5 frames of deep undrawn foundation. If I can find another drawn foundation, that'd be great, but we're just going to go ahead and basically sort of flip them so that way they can make use of the entire entrance on the bottom. And this is kind of the thought process where we were able to get them to draw out those top 5 frames extremely quickly, and have her start laying in them, and then using that to sort of checkerboard across the top, and then drop everything down. So now everything is sort of just configured, will be at the completion of this, configured as it should be, kind of like we did with the package install. So let's get started. Now, before we get started with the swap, we're just going to go ahead and do a quick inspection, make sure everything looks good. So nothing yet on the side, but that's kind of typical, to be expected. have here, you can see that they're drawing it out. I have some nectar. I don't see any eggs located here, but I do have some nectar and they seem to be drawing it out. So they're getting started, and nothing too much on this side either to note. And it looks like they've successfully bridged the gap. To note, there are no midsection drawn pieces there. They just drew it straight across. So that's about as fantastic as it's going to get. I don't see the queen on there, but I do have lots of eggs. And she has set a full set of eggs in there with larvae. She's really going to work on both sides there. And we're onto the third frame in. So this is promising as far as growth is concerned. Really, like I said, we're what, 22 days since nuke install? And oh man, they really glued that down. So what I think is going on is the bottoms of these frames, because I have the queen, because I have the queen excluder underneath, the bottoms of these frames have been a bit glued down to the queen excluder, because they are really going to town on this. I don't know if you guys can see that. I'm just gonna scoot them and get a good look. That's a continuous brood pattern. I don't know if you've ever seen a single frame with that much brood spread that far across. I'm pretty impressed. I certainly can't complain about it. This tells me that this hive is going to grow exponentially faster than a standard nuke install, because you know this far in they might have filled out about 10 deep frames. It looks like they're starting to wake up. I might be getting a little bit closer to the brood that they care a lot about as we go into the center. I'm gonna set this over here so the wind blows it back this way. That is another frame of just wall-to-wall brood. That's impressive. Looks like they might be doing drone brood down there in the midsection area. This is pretty incredible, actually. So that is our third Banksbar with brood on it that has been drawn out. Looks like they're not happy about that. Yeah, they really glued those frames down to the queen excluder on the bottoms here. So it's really about time for them to and this you can see this is probably one of the first frames that she started laying in with the pattern there. If you might have seen it in JC's bees, those are all the bees that have emerged. Because that picture was taken only a couple days after the install. So, but yeah, a quick note, a thank you to JC's Bees, Jason Christman, and his support in giving these a try so we can show the world an independent view of what the Banksbars can do. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 frames of brood in various stages, and they're rapidly drawing it out. So really, in the amount of time that it took to emerge 5 deep frames of a nuke, they've reestablished on 5 Banksbar frames, probably nearly double the amount of working area and the amount of time it just took them to emerge. And that's not, and this was from foundation, not drawn comb, not 5 other frames of drawn comb to sort of do. That's basically what you would need to do, and I think a standard deep is 5 drawn comb frames to do what these guys did in the same amount of time. Gals, give credit where credit's due. These ladies are working. But yeah, I mean, they're far ahead on drawing out these than they are than they would be if they were just doing a lateral draw. Sorry, I didn't mean to scare you girls like that. All right, so that being said, I don't think it's useful to continue going down the line. Oh, we got some ash coming out of there. Gotta be careful. Let's package this back together, get the girls in the configuration for making honey. So here we are, 22 days in, 5 frames of Banksbar brood ready to emerge and probably gonna rapidly grow. They are quite defensive, I gotta say. The other person I'd like to thank is Jeff McCormick in the local airport for their disruptions. I do, I love this aviation. But yeah, no, I'd like to thank Jeff McCormick for the bees. They were a standard purchase, not paid advertisement, but he has been our supplier for our apiary since we started it a year ago. And I have been impressed and had 100%, I will claim it as 100% success rate with his bees. So good recommendation there. I know I got a good amount of followers in the New England area, but across Maine, Massachusetts, and New Hampshire. And I think that that's probably going to be one of the benefits of these is in the New England area. I think we dialed in what's an appropriate brood box size. If you go double deep, it's too much space to heat in the winter. If you go single deep, you know, you're really limiting the volume of bees and the amount of resources. You are doing a lot better when it comes to giving them smaller space to heat, but I think it's just a matter of dialing in where it is, where it makes sense for you in your region. But I don't think those brood frames, they were basically almost full of brood. They weren't more than maybe 5 pounds. So when I hear people say like, oh, it's gonna be loaded to the brim with honey, it's like, yeah, on the sides probably, those ones will probably get heavy, but it's a brood box. It's not a super. It's not meant for honey extraction. It's meant for them packing away as much of their natural foods through the winter. So, all right, girls, let's get you where we need you to be, which is down here, right? And then we're gonna take out the lower nuke and reestablish it up top. And there you go. Magically, we appeared a couple extra deeps. What we're gonna do is we're gonna take the brood container of the medium and the deep, unlatch it, place it on the ground in front, so that way we can gain access to the previously installed nuke, remove the frames from the nuke, place it in the deep that is just kind of set off to the side for a minute. These are just here for some working space. Take just the medium super, unlatch it, lift it up, and then reinsert into the vacant deep on the bottom. This will make it, it sounds complex, but when I think you see me do it, it'll make a lot more sense. So let's just go ahead and do it. We're gonna unlatch the brood box, just the brood box, okay? And this is probably gonna make them less than thrilled about what we're doing. So we'll have that smoke ready to go. And then we'll just go nice and easy. Done. That's pretty incredible. So we'll exclude, so that way we know Queen is now down here. She's actively laying. While we didn't see her do the inspection, there's no reason to not believe that she's in there. So I saw eggs. Lots and lots and lots of eggs. Now we get to super it back. And these, the great thing about this is these are frames ready to go, right? So I'm gonna take some of the ones that are the most drawn out, put them on either side. There we go. And then we can checkerboard in. These are the nice fancy dancy Apame frames. Now, for me, since this is basically a honey super, I'm probably just going to do a 9-frame configuration on this. It seems to make the most sense to me to do a 9-frame super. I like how the honeycomb on the 9 frames really gets drawn out. So when you go to make your cuts, it's a lot more efficient in that you don't need to worry so much about having to run your knife or your comb. I'm going to checkerboard this actually. Like said I was going to. So you can run your knife or your device once through. I like engineering management, and repetitive motion is the bane of production. Along with inventory and all those other forms of waste. Really? Well, at least they're heavy producers here. And again, like I'm saying, this is only my second year beekeeping, but I really have found this to be one of the most enjoyable activities that I've been able to do since I left the military. Let's see if they draw that out. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. We're good on the 9 frames. I got some spacers I can toss in there. So you're supposed to install these. You're supposed to install these appropriately, but I'm just going to use them to make sure everything's spaced appropriately, as opposed to actually installing them. Yeah, it's a lot of ash in there. I need to find a better solution. It rained the other day here, and coming by dry brush and leaves was less than what I would call easy. There we go. So that's good. That's good. Hey, how you like them apples? So I'm gonna put the feeder back on, but just that's the only reason that is because this is an apame, and on the apame, the feeder is, in fact, the top cover, the inner top cover. Do have a lot of young ladies that did not make it out in time the last time I inspected them. I did not see it because I was inspecting on the back. But we do have pollen patty in there. They're still a young hive. I think we're in the flow right now. Mid-June. Yeah. So they're bringing plenty of nectar in, but I want them to have every advantage possible. So we do have a pollen patty in there now. That really only leaves one thing. Ah. That's what I forgot. So the brood is down there now, so we need to put this center of the brood chamber. There we go. All right. I'd say that's all she wrote. That was a significant amount of frames in about 22 days. 5 full Banksbars frames with an additional 5 nuke frames already drawn out. What I saw in the nuke frames was probably about 40% nectar 10% capped honey. And this was a nuke 22 days ago. It was a nuke 22 days ago. And I almost have a nuke of honey and a nuke of Banksbars. This population is going to skyrocket in the next 2 weeks. We will have a same year yield of honey out of a hive, as opposed to having to wait a whole year to get a full yield. So there's advantages here. And my next inspection is going to be of 10 frames. That's it. Not 20 frames and a double deep. 10 frames. Make sure you stop by. Check out my Etsy. Find the Banksbars. Get them. Yep. Get the same year. Why wait a whole year? Why would you wait a whole year for your honey? That's a whole year off your queen's life. That's a whole year of investment with no returns. Seems reasonable to me. All right. Thank y'all for watching.